Hi everyone, thank you for taking time for our presentation. My name is Shauna Lang and I'm located in Squamish, British Columbia, and currently work at the Sea to Sky Gondola overseeing the guest services and sales team. So have the opportunity to work closely with Tourism Squamish. And prior to being at the Sea to Sky Gondola, I worked 14 years at Tourism Whistler and prior to that at Fairmont Chateau Whistler. So I have lots of experience working with the DMO of Tourism Whistler and Tourism Squamish, and as a result, have had extensive experience working with Destination British Columbia, Destination Canada, and our local Coast Vancouver and Mountains region here in BC. So it's been great to take that experience for this project, this unit, and this course.
Thanks, Shauna. Hello, everyone. I'm Natalie Nichols, and I am a former Prairie Girl converted to Vancouverite. I worked in marketing and communications back in Saskatchewan for about 8 years before I decided to study and pursue a career in travel. I actually majored in marketing for my undergraduate degree, so this class has been a really great complement and also a refresher. I've been working at a travel agency called Fresh Tracks Canada here in Vancouver for the last 6.5 years. And I was hired as a vacation advisor, but have been managing our sales team for the last year. We're definitely making some significant changes to our promotional strategy at my company right now, some of which I'll be speaking about today. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Natalie. Hello, Morgan and fellow classmates. My name is Jennifer Medor, and I currently live in LaSalle, Ontario, which is just outside of Windsor, Ontario. We are a border city with Detroit. I have been in the travel industry for over 20 years. I own and operate a small travel agency, and I also work full-time as a learning and development manager for Global Excel Management. That company is based in Sherbrooke, Quebec, but we do have a branch here in Windsor called Active Care Management, and we specialize in travel insurance. I hope you will enjoy our presentation, and thank you for listening in advance.
Thank you for your time today. We're going to spend the next 30 minutes sharing the Unit 4 materials related to destination marketing strategy. We'll start with the key concept of tourism strategy, which includes the 8 Ps of marketing, as well as channel breakdown. We'll then look at barriers to destination marketing, followed by opportunities for future. And we're going to take into consideration the state we're in right now in this world. We will conclude our presentation with some thought-provoking questions for you to consider and discuss. Let's start with the 8 Ps of destination and tourism marketing. In the early 1960s, McCarthy identified the 4 Ps of the marketing mix: product, price, place, promotion. Fast forward, and Morrison added the other 4, specifically related to service marketing and tourism and hospitality: people, partnerships, programming, and packaging. For the purposes of this presentation, the objective of this unit will be focusing on the promotion part of the marketing mix. I will spend the next few minutes sharing concepts and examples particularly related to my experience as part of the Tourism Whistler team for 14 years. The promotional mix is made up of 5 main components. We'll take a look at each of the 5. As at Tourism Whistler, we conducted activity in each of these realms. As Lotta mentions, there are challenges related to promotional mix decisions. At Tourism Whistler, extensive discussions and analysis went into how we divided our budget between all 5 components. We broke down our activity by market, so some markets had more advertising than personal selling, for example, and vice versa. Advertising is your paid-for messaging in public spaces. This is the chance for the brand to share their message and how they perceive themselves, not how others perceive the brand. Advertising can be broken out in so many ways. In the case of Tourism Whistler, there were kind of 3 main buckets in which we share our brand. Not all were executed every year, and they varied by season and by market. The first bucket you'll often see is kind of your traditional television, out of home, which is billboards or public spaces. You can see here, and I was very excited to see an ad when I was in London, in the London Underground of Whistler, and print. These messages require long lead time as the content can't easily be changed once they're defined, and these options tend to be the more expensive outlets. The second bucket is social media, which can be both sharing the destination story in the DMO voice through the various channels like Facebook or WeChat in China, for example, or offering native ads, which are actually ads, purchased ads, but they are meant to look like a social post. Thirdly is the digital space, which includes anything online, from SEO, search engine optimization, data sharing, web and mobile applications, video integration, programmatic media buying, just to name a few. It's this bucket where we've seen the biggest growth in investment in tourism. Most DMO budgets kind of stay the same annually with some tweaks here and there, but the increased need to invest in this digital space has meant money has to come from somewhere else. So we'll see other segments in the promotional mix shift. Public relations, or PR, allows a destination to influence travel through creating a positive image for the company. It's not necessarily a hard sale, but it's more inspiring messaging through activity. An example at Tourism Whistler is we rented ice in the middle of San Francisco at Union Park, and we shared a photography exhibit and had Miss Whistler and Miss Blackcomb skate around, spreading the Whistler love. Personal selling is when a brand has a personal connection or contact with a customer, so B2C, or a third party, which is B2B or business to business. Often this takes place through a call center, a website, or a trade show. At Tourism Whistler, our B2C activity took place in the call center and through our website, whistler.com and 1-800-WHISTLER, which included a live chat on the website. We'll cover the B2B activities later when we're discussing other channels. Sales promotion is used when a brand is focused on conversion. Personal and exclusive offers not only convert a sale, but they can drive loyalty. As Berkeley says, 65% of customers agree receiving personalized offers and exclusive discounts has a major or moderate influence on their loyalty. Making an offer to customers that will help them kind of pull the trigger to purchase. And in some cases, they end up buying more than they originally anticipated. Examples in tourism are often free nights, upgraded room categories in hotels. In this example here, Tourism Whistler is trying to drive a longer length of stay by offering a $50 activity voucher when guests purchase 3 or more nights, when typically in Whistler, it's like a 2.4 average length of stay. Sales promotions also allow brands to tell their story a little bit more, as in this case, the customer now knows that there's adventure to be had in Whistler. Direct marketing allows the brand to really focus on their target market or a niche market. From this example, on their website, Tourism Whistler is determining customers' preferences and will target newsletters and offers based on these preferences. Targeted emails and traditional snail mail have already become more of a traditional solution, whereas now in the online space, big data, strong consumer relations managing, CRM, online cookies, for example, allow brands to target potential customers based on their search history, words used in emails, texts, etc., essentially creating an online profile for them. I'm sure we've all had those different products start following us when we looked at them once. I looked at a pair of slippers once and they still won't leave me alone. Tourism brands like Tourism Whistler, for example, would target people looking for holidays in Banff and then start serving them ads. We'll discuss this a little bit more when we talk about future opportunities later. Now that we have all these tools in our marketing toolkit, we'll have to look at what channels to invest in and what needs to be considered. In tourism, traditionally, we identify 3 main distribution channels: consumer direct, travel trade, and travel media. Consumer direct marketing is basically the overall brand campaign. This is when the brand speaks to consumers directly. There's no middleman. The consumer channel encompasses pretty much all 5 of the components, targeting the brand message to potential consumers. So advertising, direct marketing, PR, B2C, sales, and promotion. Travel trade falls into the B2B category, and destinations partner with third parties like tour operators, travel agents, and OTAs, or online travel agents. These channels allow the consumers to pay for their holidays in their own currency, book in their own language and time zone, and for the destination, it allows the destination to extend reach to customers they couldn't normally reach. Activities to ensure mutual success are fam tours to the destination. You can see me here with a group of agents from India and another from Mexico, attending trade shows. At Tourism Whistler, we attended a minimum of 6 trade shows. This one pictured is Virtuoso Travel Week, 5 days of 4-minute meetings, completely exhausting. That year I was on the green path, so just went from one green table to the next, following the same person for 5 days. And cooperative marketing, where the tour operator brand is prevalent, but the destination's message is there. Typically, this would be split 50-50 between the destination and the tour operator. The travel media channel is when the brand story is told through the words, images, and coverage of someone else other than the brand itself. This is traditionally earned media. The destination doesn't pay for the space in print or the time on television or the pages of a blog. However, it's a bit skewed, as often the best stories are shared with experiencing the destination firsthand. And of course, there are costs involved on behalf of the destination to essentially host the media while they're visiting. For example, at Tourism Whistler, we hosted over 300 media a year. Other ways to get destination coverage without that visit would be through press releases, by visiting editors or journalists directly in their offices. We refer to these as desk side pitches, or attending trade shows and pitching your story, like International Media Marketplace in New York or Sydney, or attend Destination Canada's Go Media. It's critical for destinations to always have a story to tell. Working with membership and leveraging activities from other DMOs is important to generating these opportunities. In today's marketing mix, the lines between earned and paid advertising are getting more and more blurry. There are publications, for example, that would only send a writer to cover a story if advertising space is to be purchased. Also, often now you'll see sponsored content in a publication. So it's basically meant to look like editorial, like earned. However, the destination has paid for that spot, and we'll touch on that a little later.
Thanks, Shauna. If a destination marketing organization or tourism provider is going to accomplish its organizational objectives through promotion, it must plan to overcome and manage the barriers that await it, particularly as the global tourism industry faces unprecedented challenges due to COVID-19. I will speak today to the 6 main barriers we feel stand in the way of promotion success. Consumers are constantly inundated with promotional messages, making it difficult to stand out from other products and destinations. Often tourism campaigns focus on appealing to as many people as possible, and as a result, fail to stand out or effectively target individual market segments. Seraphine, Plato, and Platenia pointed out that more destinations are moving towards universal stereotype strategies rather than individual-based strategies, which can contribute to over-tourism as they attempt to attract a mass market. In order to maximize effectiveness and fulfill promotional objectives, marketers must present a unique selling proposition to differentiate themselves from competing destinations. Consideration should also be given to creativity in presentation. For example, Liotta points out that promotional videos with fictional narratives have been proven to be more impactful than generic scenery videos as viewers are absorbed into the story. Iceland recently launched a new campaign around Scream and Shout and Let It All Out. While many may now be familiar with Iceland's stunning landscapes, this new campaign entices visitors to visit and release their built-up stress by screaming it out in vast scenery that offers plenty of social distance. The campaign was developed with video and print ads, but it also included a new Looks Like You Need Iceland website that gives the ability to upload their scream to play out in remote Icelandic locations. While it's too early to measure the long-term results of this campaign, there's no denying it stands out. While tourism providers and DMOs curate intentional promotional campaigns, they are competing with unintentional branding. Bertelli and Lasser point out the challenge the DMOs face in interfering with the unintentional branding and images that tourists are exposed to. This content is typically from individuals' experiences and can consist of reviews, pictures, videos, and peer-to-peer communication that form a consumer's associations with the destination. Businesses have seen firsthand the power of TripAdvisor reviews and social media comments on their business. Even campaign hashtags have the ability to go viral with negative or conflicting messages or imagery. My company recently faced backlash in response to its first Facebook and Instagram ad campaign targeting Canadians with a special promotion. The comments focused on our package pricing being too expensive, which took away from client interest in action. Although there were click-throughs from the ad, they didn't result in any website inquiries or new Canadian sales. This backlash has led to a reconsideration of how we approach promotional offers and messaging for the Canadian market. The effectiveness and persuasion of promotional materials varies greatly by culture, and as such, consideration needs to be given to differences between markets. Promotional materials should be customized and the appropriate promotional channels selected. A key component of the cultural consideration is the translation of promotional marketing messaging into the languages of target markets and cultures. Solomon points out that translated tourism promotional materials have frequently failed to meet their performance objectives when targeting other cultures. According to Sundberg, this has been the result of employing literal translation rather than interpreting the purpose of the message. Slang can also be problematic due to its misinterpretation in other markets. For example, Australia's $180 million Where the Bloody Hell Are You campaign in 2007 was banned in both the UK and Canada, who interpreted its local slang as bad language. Needless to say, the tagline also didn't translate well into other languages. Lastly, marketers need to ensure the motivational and informational content is relevant to the target market. Images should also be carefully selected to reflect the traveler style and activity preferences of the target market, with consideration given to what's socially acceptable. While tourism providers and DMOs curate intentional promotional campaigns, they are competing with unintentional branding. Bertelli and Lasser point out the challenge the DMOs face in interfering with the unintentional branding and images that tourists are exposed to. This content is typically from individuals' experiences and can consist of reviews, pictures, videos, and peer-to-peer communication that form a consumer's associations with the destination. Businesses have seen firsthand the power of TripAdvisor reviews and social media comments on their business. Even campaign hashtags have the ability to go viral with negative or conflicting messages or imagery. My company recently faced backlash in response to its first Facebook and Instagram ad campaign targeting Canadians with a special promotion. The comments focused on our package pricing being too expensive, which took away from client interest in action. Although there were click-throughs from the ad, they didn't result in any website inquiries or new Canadian sales. This backlash has led to a reconsideration of how we approach promotional offers and messaging for the Canadian market. Research has shown that tourists are increasingly seeking more than just sightseeing and are wanting to have emotional contact with locals and their culture. To satisfy this need, destination brands should promote both the destination and its residents. According to Wassler, a destination's residents are potentially the largest and most powerful ambassadors of destination brands. Crows points out that if locals are happy, visitors are more likely to have a positive experience. For this reason, Serenimi recommends a destination co-create its branding strategy with all stakeholders to ensure congruence. This ensures the brand is representative of reality and well received by locals, minimizing the risk it will fuel stereotypes. Lastly, according to Sanchez Fernandez, a destination first has to be enjoyed by local residents. For this reason, DMOs must be wary of over-tourism, which can result in a negative attitude towards visitors. Destination Canada's recent resident sentiment tracking measures show the impact COVID-19 has had on local sentiment. With the exception of Quebec, provinces aren't willing to welcome visitors from other parts of Canada, the US, or other countries. Only 31% of BC residents were open to visitors from other provinces, and less than 8% of residents were open to US and international visitors. While the resident sentiment to other provinces is slowly improving, it will be a difficult task for DMOs to restore positive sentiment and confidence in order to drive tourism development. It is too early to see whether Destination Canada's Canada Nice campaign lives up to expectations. Part of the campaign is centered around friendly faces, which seems contrary to current provincial travel restrictions and the negative sentiment ratings. Never has the future of the market for travel been more uncertain than these past 4 months. We've seen DMOs across the world scrambling to target local clientele after previously relying on international visitors. Quarantine restrictions and travel bans have limited both international tourism and interprovincial tourism. Even within Canada, evolving restrictions have made it difficult to adapt promotional marketing in a timely fashion to ensure the appropriate market is targeted. Destination Canada's recent recovery report shows an estimated decrease of 77 to 85% in tourism export revenue from Canadians compared to 2019. The largest impact being experienced in the top tourism provinces of Ontario, Quebec, and British Columbia. My company is 97% international clientele. We recently introduced a new collection of luxury trips to appeal to high-end Canadians after realizing our regular trip offerings weren't meeting their needs. We also signed a formal partnership with a chain of Canadian travel agencies to help us connect to local Canadian clientele. Without knowing how long the border closure will last, these new promotional methods are key to our survival. It is a double-edged sword. Destinations' promotional efforts suffer with insufficient resources and low visitor numbers, yet they require additional funding in order to gain reach. Most DMOs rely on local hotel and tourism taxes as a key source of funding and are seeing increased strain due to lower visitor numbers and occupancy rates. According to a recent article by Travel Weekly, some DMOs have already been forced into conducting layoffs and massive budget cuts. With revenues plummeting in the cruise, airline, and hotel industries, we've also seen additional layoffs. The reduced spending is evident when one does a travel search on Google. According to a recent article by Skift, Google experienced a $1 billion drop in ad spend by travel suppliers and resellers between January and March, with paid search advertising estimated to have dropped $3 billion between April and June compared to 2019. Recently, Canada's federal government redirected $30 million from foreign tourism promotion to Destination Canada to promote domestic travel to Canadians. The government also set aside an additional $40 million to support tourism agencies in adapting to the pandemic. The idea being that the Canadian tourism industry would need to shift Canadians' travel plans and also ensure companies could afford to keep the people working on the front lines in tourism. Now that we've considered examples of campaigns as well as barriers of campaigns, let's take a look at the opportunities moving forward. Never has the future of the market for travel been more uncertain than these past 4 months. We've seen DMOs across the world scrambling to target local clientele after previously relying on international visitors. Quarantine restrictions and travel bans have limited both international tourism and interprovincial tourism. Even within Canada, evolving restrictions have made it difficult to adapt promotional marketing in a timely fashion to ensure the appropriate market is targeted. Destination Canada's recent recovery report shows an estimated decrease of 77 to 85% in tourism export revenue from Canadians compared to 2019. The largest impact being experienced in the top tourism provinces of Ontario, Quebec, and British Columbia. My company is 97% international clientele. We recently introduced a new collection of luxury trips to appeal to high-end Canadians after realizing our regular trip offerings weren't meeting their needs. We also signed a formal partnership with a chain of Canadian travel agencies to help us connect to local Canadian clientele. Without knowing how long the border closure will last, these new promotional methods are key to our survival.
Thanks, Natalie. Great job. So for my portion of the presentation, I'm going to be looking at the future opportunities for promotional marketing. I will discuss the current state of things, DMOs and partnerships, and how to leverage those, social media trends, robots, and augmented and virtual reality. So let's get started. So what does the current state of promotional marketing look like? Not good. Currently, there is a lot of uncertainty for the future of travel. Many airlines, hotels, and DMOs are changing the way they do business. Customers now think about their safety and want reassurances for cleanliness and processes in place to protect them from COVID. The United Nations World Tourism Organization graph in this slide shows international arrivals in 2019 in light blue versus the international arrivals in Q1 of 2020. COVID has not gone away, and many areas are just trying to cope with the virus. Travel has not returned to normal, but it's not all doom and gloom. DMOs, hotels, and airlines are getting creative in ways they encourage travelers to get on the move again while keeping them safe. Local tourism has grown since COVID hit. DMOs are partnering up and cross-promoting to encourage travel within their own regions. Typically, each province, region, county, and city would be in competition with each other, but sometimes it benefits them to promote with each other. For instance, the 4 Atlantic provinces, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland, were put into a travel bubble by the Canadian government to control the spread of COVID-19. These provinces had to shift their promotional strategy and attract locals in the Atlantic bubble to visit each other, even though it may be in their own backyard. This ad from Tourism Nova Scotia touts that there's no place like home. According to Silva et al. In 2017, customers are looking for some key fundamentals when they travel: image, perceived quality, satisfaction, the safety of the destination, cultural differences, and previous experiences. Those living in the Atlantic bubble already know what to expect and are familiar with the area, so it checks off all those boxes and makes it easier for them to explore the area. As discussed, provincial, regional, city, and county DMOs are teaming up and cross-promoting. On the website ontariotravel.com, they are offering to promote tourism businesses for free by partnering with them. This is the perfect way for tour companies, travel agencies, museums, or other attractions to leverage themselves on a bigger platform and draw in more viewers. By signing up on tourismpartners.com, attractions and tour companies can not only leverage their company, but also extend the reach of their campaign, elevate their stories, and partake in Destination Ontario marketing materials. Destination Ontario offers print, digital, and social media marketing opportunities for them. Using social media for promotional marketing is always a must, but there's so many social media channels nowadays. Which one should DMOs use to promote their agency? Well, the DMO would need to know who their target market or markets are and go to those social media channels that their customers use and engage them there. Influencers used to be a popular trend, but a new trend is that DMOs are partnering up with publishers. For example, in 2019, Napa Valley joined forces with Afar Magazine on its Makers of Napa Valley content series, and it doubled original KPIs. On this slide is a Napa Valley Pinterest photo embedded into the Afar Magazine article. Notice that Afar has multiple social media channels on their webpage, so readers can share that photo to their preferred social media channel. So you might be thinking, Jen, how would robots be used in promotional marketing? Well, even prior to COVID, hotels and airports were using robots to sanitize and disinfect rooms in large areas. In the past few months, airports and hotels are promoting the use of robots to ensure a clean and sanitary airport lounge, bathroom, or even your hotel room. How about having a bottle of wine or champagne delivered right to your room by a robot? Hotel Trio in Healdsburg, California has a robot named, you ready for this? Rosé, that delivers wine or anything else you can think of right to your room. Another type of robot that's used is called a chatbot. They're often that little box that appears and asks if they can help you when you're searching on maybe a hotel website. Chatbots are quite effective to provide information to customers and provide them with answers. A Business Insider survey shows that 45% of customers don't even care if they interact with a human or a chatbot as long as the service is efficient. And 49% of consumers use automated channels without any human interaction at least once a week. Between millennials, this number will go up to 66%. In a 2017 paper, Gibson and O'Raw said, specific to tourism, a number of opportunities for virtual reality are now evident, among which is the area of marketing and promotion. The technology has similarities with virtual reality, but augmented reality does not replace the real-world environment, but augments it by overlaying digital components. COVID has been a great way for customers to have a chance to see where they may be going and what it looks like without ever leaving their home. The try before you buy method. Marriott hotels can teleport you to the beaches of Hawaii or to downtown London without ever leaving your room. They partnered up with marketing agency Relevant, an Oscar-winning VFX studio Framestore, and created the hashtag #GetTeleported to take customers on a virtual tour. With Oculus Rift DK2 virtual reality headsets and wireless headphones, the tour can take you into one of Marriott's great room lobbies. Another example is part of Dubai Tourism's Until We Meet Again campaign had more than 9.2 million people in the UK and France use the Dubai Tourism Snapchat lenses to virtually visit Dubai landmarks. The campaign ran for 2 weeks and it exceeded expectations by 180%. Artificial reality and augmented reality has gained popularity, especially in British Columbia. However, there are some challenges in using AR and VR. In British Columbia, it accounts for 35% of total revenue, while other Canadian provinces only contribute about 14%. British Columbia's VR and AR companies need more access to customers and talent to continue their growth. According to respondents, the top 3 gaps in the British Columbia virtual reality and augmented reality ecosystem are investment, corporate matchmaking, and government support. Still a long ways to go to improve this area and promotional tourism. So just to recap our presentation, Shauna explained the 8 Ps, highlighted the promotional mix, touching on advertising, PR, personal selling, sales promotion, direct marketing, channel breakdown, the consumer, travel trade, and media. Then Natalie discussed the barriers to a successful promotion, such as trying to stand out, user-generated content, the cultural differences, the local connection, unknown market conditions, kind of like we're seeing now with COVID-19, and resources. Then I touched on the opportunities for the future of promotion by talking about DMOs and partnerships, leveraging DMOs, social media trends, robots, AR and VR, and then some of the challenges that go with those. But now we want you to do some thinking on this topic yourself.
Now we'd like to leave you with a few things to think about. See our questions and then post in the forum and discuss. Question 1. DMOs are using programmatic media buying more and more. Have you made a decision to book a destination based on ads being served to you? If so, what was the trigger? Question 2. DMO budgets are often less than what organizations wishes they could do. When considering all 5 components of the promotional mix, what do you think is more important than others? And if something had to be given up, more or less? Question 3. Have you used virtual reality to view a destination? If so, what did you look at and what were your thoughts on it? If you haven't used it, what do you think you would want to view? Would you consider using virtual reality to try before you buy method? Thanks again for your time today.